guys, welcome back again to Health Focus. You always know that whenever we have a guest, it's an interesting time of learning and introduction. Our guest today is an author. He is a content creator. Something About Surgery is his channel. He is a surgeon. He is an amazing leader in healthcare. He is a quality, resilient surgeon. I won't have enough words to describe him. Let's get down and get hear his story. You are all welcome. So yes, karibu sana daktari.
Thank you, Emily.
Kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, viewers. My name is Stanley Aruyaru. I am a doctor with 12 plus years of experience in the Kenyan healthcare space. By training, I'm a general and laparoscopic surgeon. As Emily has said, I'm also an author. My book is titled The Chronicles of a Village Surgeon. I have a YouTube channel called Something About Surgery. My blog is on aruyaru.com. And I am heavily involved in social activism for quality healthcare on the blog space, on the social media, etc., etc. Stanley Aruyaru across all the lines. In terms of practice, I practice currently as a general laparoscopic surgeon and the chief medical officer at PCA Kikuyu Hospital, and I am also the Secretary General of the Surgical Society of Kenya, which is the umbrella of all the surgeons in the country. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
And a lot under one person. We will get to know how you are able to balance all these things. But we like knowing who Stanley is from the beginning before we sit and talk about the surgery that you do and the association that you actively are ready for. Let's get to know, where was Stanley born and where did he go to school?
No question you want to know where I went to school because I didn't go to the groups of school. I like to say I went to the school of groups. Where people would sit in groups under a tree. I was born and bred in Meru County. My village is called Lailoba in Tigania East sub-county. And it took quite some time before I could go to school. I actually went to primary school when I was 9. So I've always dubbed myself the late bloomer. But
where was
several reasons. First, because there wasn't motivation to go to school. My parents are illiterate, so to speak, so they haven't gotten formal education. So for them, really, and especially for my dad, it was just to look after cows, look after goats. But after the goats were decimated by an outbreak of, I think, Reader pest, there was nothing else to do than go to school. So anyway, the pressure was also there essentially to go to school from the siblings and the surrounding. So I went to Lailoba Primary School in Lailoba Primary School. Yes, Lailoba Primary School in Tigania East Sub-County. I was there until I sat my KCPE. When I sat my KCPE, I passed well. I think I passed well because the record stood for nearly 16 years before it couldn't be broken. But when the time came to go to high school, I got an invitation from a provincial school then. But I couldn't make it to go there because my folks didn't have money. So I remember my dad told me, I will take you to a village polytechnic where you can study to become a mechanic, a driver and a mechanic. And I like to joke now that I become a mechanic, only that the engines I have to repair them when they're still running.
So let's get to know, when you were in primary and you were going to school, of course, I feel like you're naturally intellectually gifted. Did you know what you wanted to do, even when you were asking for a chance to go to high school?
No, actually, I didn't know what I wanted to do. At that moment, I wouldn't say the mentorship and the exposure was so good. Growing up in the village where you really had to struggle to get someone who has been to university and as a degree. So in primary school, I wouldn't say I exactly knew what I wanted to do. But by the time I was getting invitations to go to secondary school, I remember one of the primary school teachers prophetically telling my dad, don't deny this village, they are first doctor. So I think that's where the seeds of being a doctor got sown. And from there, the rest, as they say, is history.
Which high school gave you admission?
You might not know, it is called St. Cyprian High School. Previously, it was called St. Kizito, and now it's called St. Cyprian High School in, again, the same sub-county, Tigania East sub-county. in Meru County.
Well, so you didn't get a chance to go to St. Cyprian, Kizito?
I eventually went to St. Cyprian. How I went there now is the juicy bit of the story. Yes, so my dad did shopping for me. He told me we are going to the village polytechnic, not the TVET polytechnic, the village polytechnics where you would go and learn masonry, carpentry and joinery, driving and mechanics, etc., etc. And I remember preparing, doing some shopping to go to the village polytechnic. Then the parents and teachers got wind of this arrangement and decided, no, this is not going to happen. So they sent someone. Well, I had actually traveled out of home to just make my way to the polytechnic. They sent someone to stop me in my mischievous ways. Come back, we are doing something. So they organized a fundraiser, they organized a Harambe. That's how I got to get to St. Cyprian High School. I remember I reported on the day when the rest of the students were coming back from midterm, I think first week of March. That's when I reported for my Form 1.
What was your feeling around the time you are not able to go to school?
It was distraught feeling. It was a sense of hopelessness, and life was just looking bleak and unclear in terms of what the future held. But I will say I was just there taking it one day at a time. And the moment I finally did the shopping and picked my metallic box going to the polytechnic, I thought I am now a lost cause. And up to that point, I really didn't know there was some other twist that would come to it. So when the twist came, it was with a pleasant surprise, and I was really excited to wade through it. And then once I went to the high school, then it was just again another experience by itself, because going through wasn't as smooth as I would have expected.
The way the contribution was done for you to join high school, were you able now to be in school consistently? Were they able to pay the entire fee, or what happened?
That's a good question, Emily. So I stayed until the money that was available was able to take me through almost the entirety of Form 1. And then from Form 2, it became cat and mouse, go home, get school fees, go home, get school fees, come up until the time I was sitting my KCSE. I remember actually last year, I had this humongous outstanding fee arrears, and the principal had to tell me, go home, get money, or you're not getting registered for KCSE. And then I had to find a way to sneak back to school so that I can work on my agriculture plot, because agriculture was being assessed, and therefore you needed to weed your plot properly. When the assessors come, they still have to give you the practical marks. So I would sneak in the evening, and for the weekend I would be there. I would copy the notes, I would water my agriculture plot, and then I would sneak out. I had good rapport with the guys. Up to now, I think they don't know. So they would, when you are coming in, no one asks you. Is when you are going out, when you from them in. Yeah, so I would jump over the fence on a muddy veranda in the morning and disappear, because I don't have a school fees, and our meal card now introduced. So without a meal card, there's nothing you're going to do.
Where were you?
So I would go home and I would help with the home chores and would keep looking for money, etc., etc. So I finally got caught in this mischievous behavior, because one weekend I sneaked in and then we went for Science Congress, and then our project won. It was only the second of the two projects that won.
Where you were participating?
Yes, I was participating in chemistry talk with a classmate, and we won. So on Monday, I wasn't quite sure now, do I stay over for the assembly because I'm going to be called out because there's this trophy to present to the principal, or do I sneak and disappear? And I decided for the former, and I stayed around. Then the principal called me after the assembly and told me, when intelligent people are behaving stupidly, we are in big trouble. And eventually sent for my parent. They had an altercation of sorts, but they found a way to just get something to register me for KCSE. That time we used to pay, I think, 4,000 to register for KCSE. And then the teachers now kind of came together and made sure I got a lot of bursary. That time it was the Ministry of Education bursary. The CDF wasn't there then. This was the year 2002 when I was in Form 4. So that is how I managed to finish my KCSE and later on come to clear the arrears.
So now, when you were in high school and as you struggled along, did you ever imagine of what you wanted to be?
I kind of imagined that I wanted to achieve what hadn't been achieved, and the teachers had done a good job in telling us this high school has produced engineers, teachers, scientists, architects, all this, but we have not produced two specialties. We have not produced a doctor and we have not produced a lawyer. And being a science student, I took the 3 sciences. I was then inclined to be the one to give the school the doctor, and up to now, I think I'm the only doctor who is an alumni of that school.
Like you were focused to give them a doctor, but was it something also that was inside you that you want to do it?
I think so because from the point, like I was saying, when the primary school teacher told my dad, don't deny us our first doctor, I felt like, yeah, I want to do that. I want to get that. Of course, the fear and the anxiety and doubt was on whether you were actually going to make the cut to join medical school. And therefore, this is where the fear was. Everyone was excited. I want to get a clean A and get to medical school. And therefore, I was in that. And I knew if I don't get into medical school, then I'd drift either into pharmacy or into civil engineering or something like that. That's how it was playing in my mind. Yes.
After high school, you find yourself in campus. Which?
More university.
How was your life the first time? I like knowing not everybody is okay with facing a cadaver, and now you were introduced to medicine. What was your experience?
Cadaver ni rahisi bana. Of course. When we went, we had read the river and the source, we had read bed cancer, etc., etc. So we knew the cadaver dissection is like the highlight of medical school. If you can survive it, you're good to go. So I wouldn't say I was really afraid of the cadavers. Of course, it scares you a little. But suffice to say, I think the stench of the formalin, the preservative chemical, is what was harassing me more than the sight of the cadaver. You will always get scared of the face in every cadaver. It just looks, the rest of the areas you can make do with, the face in just what looks a little gross and scary as you start. But I didn't struggle really settling in with the sight of cadaver because you didn't do it every day. Dissection, I think, was once a week. So you would go, there was a blocked morning 8 to lunchtime when you're just in the anatomy lab. And we would start with the leg before we go to the difficult part. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, how was life in general for the 5 years in medical school?
In medical school was actually 6 years that time. Even now, all the medical schools have aligned to 6 years. But that time, more university was 6 years and university honorable was 5 years. It had its challenges, but I usually like to summarize my campus experience with one word, that is growth. I grew biologically, I grew academically, I grew mentally, I grew socially. This was the first time, I think, when I was interacting with people who didn't understand my dialect, because my high school was just in the vicinity. So maybe there were 2 or so languages that were not local dialect that you won't then say, okay, I've interacted with someone maybe from the campus speaking community, from the Quick speaking community. The rest were really Merus, so to speak. So going there now, interacting with every spectrum of people from across the country, from across the region, even outside. We had people from Uganda and lecturers who are from America, from Egypt, from Round, from Ukraine, from Russia, name it. This was universal. It stood really for the word university, minimum universal. But university also comes in blessings and other dimensions. And I remember someone telling us, we used to have a joke, it was called no schools ahead. When you go to the university, there is no other school ahead. You can only keep coming back to the university for master's, PhD. You would graduate to go from high school to a university. So we used to be told the university is so good, if you look for any goodness, you will find it there. Yes. But it can also be so crooked that if you're looking for the crooked people, they can also be there. So there was the entire spectrum. And I really thank God that I remained in the straight and narrow and cleared my school within the split time. Yes.
About internship?
Oh, internship was fun. I did internship in a hospital called Consolata Hospital Madari in Meru. Yes. And being a mission hospital, then you didn't have the challenges sometimes you find in the public facility, maybe where the supplies are not available. So that was really good for us. You're housed within the facility. There's a small stipend. So this was a good thing for me.
You were private instead of, you are being posted?
No, I actually, yes and no. First and foremost, when I was in 5th year in university, I got a chance to go for electives. outside the country. I was in Linköping hospital in Sweden, and I got to understand what maybe modern medicine entails, what you can do for a patient when you're not in want, when you're not struggling to get the scan, struggling to get this drug, struggling to get this consumable. Then I came back and what was called the district attachment. Now, for my district attachment, I went to a district hospital, and I came face to face again with the challenges you have, especially if the supply chain is not accurate and the patient is not able. So you might go there and you have what we call a cannula. You want a cannula in an emergency patient, the cannula tissues, you know what that means. And you look at the patient in the eye and tell them, go buy another one. Like, it was that painful. And I therefore decided that I would like to go to a mission hospital where I know I won't be a spoiled kid, so to speak, but at least there will be some semblance of order and not abundance, but there will be optimum resources for me to use to cater to my patient so that I don't get frustrated. And sometimes you used to baptize it, supervising death. You have patients, you know what needs to be done, but you don't have the resources. You have to send patients out for the lab, everything. If they don't have that, you just start there with the patient. So this is what made me look for a mission hospital. I'm currently in Kikuyu, and I keep telling them I interviewed to go to Kikuyu as an intern, but I never passed the interview. Now I finally passed the interview to come there as CMO. But once I didn't pass the interview for the Chak hospital, then I just balloted. When we were balloting, many people didn't want to go to the mission hospital. They thought there isn't going to be good exposure. But I said I want to ballot for Consolata Hospital Madari. I got it, and I went there. There were 4 of us, myself, Dr. Irongo, Dr. Kimani, and Dr. Wahinya. And we made such a blended team. I loved the experience. Up to this day. I can remember calls. I can remember cases we managed. It was beautiful.
How do you take the 36-hour call of internship?
Yes.
And why is the training so intense like that? Why those hours?
2 things. One, I feel like the resources in terms of the manpower is not adequate. So if you want to be on call and then go rest, you may not have enough people to step in for you when you are resting. This is number 1. And number 2, I feel is we just need to move. We just need to make a decision and say, as an institution, the longest you can do a call is this number of hours. So I don't want to go there. When I look at it, I am a consultant. Sometimes I can have a rough night and I've been in theater all night, and during the day I will go work. So eventually that will translate to 36-hour shifts. So sometimes I tell my junior colleagues, especially the interns, that sometimes when you go through this, it's not because we want to punish you. It's because this is the reality. So we want to offer you the exact reality of what you will meet. Because the moment you decide to be a practicing consultant in clinical care, when you are on call, one day you can be on call the whole weekend, nothing happens. The other day, you can be on call and you are waking up to a phone call, you get into the hospital, you get into theater, and then another accident happens, you're in theater day and night, and the following day you still hold on. So sometimes it happens, other times it doesn't happen. But suffice to say, in the systems that have developed well, then they're able to cap. If you have been on call and you've seen so many patients, or you've been on duty constantly for so many hours, then they are quickly able to have a mechanism where they quickly get someone to help you. So I think that area of call is somewhere that just needs to be streamlined little by little, and everything will be okay, because there's a certain point beyond which, if you are sleep deprived or you are hungry, you won't offer quality to the patient. Absolutely.
And again, you are in learning.
Yes.
So that you are in optimum in going back to books and getting to work coordination. You finished your internship. You now get into the job market as a medical officer. Where were you posted? Did you get into mission still? Feeling frustrated?
Not necessarily. In this point round, if you remember those years, the government used to post you. I remember even as an intern, I had a pay slip. 2011, I even remember I had a pay slip and it was written date of retirement, like 2050 something. So it used to be, you're like, this is permanent and pensionable. And the corner, they always used to show you your anticipated date of retirement, which looks like it will never arrive. But I was posted. So we will be posted either from the provincial level or from the Afia house. Now, our papers from our station were late to get to the provincial medical director, and therefore they found themselves to Afya House. And therefore the director of medical services posted all of us to the first-line areas, but I'll talk about myself. I was posted to Transmara District Hospital in Kilgoris.
Wow.
Yes, so I reported there. I was received well. It used to be quite a drive from OTC on a matatu through Narok to Kilgoris. We used to go through using Kilgoris Classic. I used to love it because I just to and fro, and I would finish reading one book. Next time I have another book, to and fro, I'm done. So I was there from June 2012 to November, but in August I interviewed for my postgraduate, and I passed my interviews to join the Aga Khan University Hospital, which is a premier private facility.
First, when you landed at Kilgoris, how was it? You're coming from Consonata, where supply chain is almost a bit stable. You've joined government. How was the experience?
I think I had numbed my anticipation, so I knew I might have some challenges. But I really loved being in Kilgoris because you could see that you are in the farthest corner where the need was highest. I saw patients who had gone to Babu and Oliondo, and they came back in severe complications because they stopped either their ARVs or their diabetes medication, and they were told, just go to Babu and Oliondo and then get your drink and you are going to go. Now they came in extremis, you are taking them to second line, etc. But I loved it because we were creating impact. While I was there, we opened theatre. We could now do cesarean sections there without having to refer them to Kisii level 5 because Kisii is what was closer to Kilgoris other than Narok. Though Narok is more or less, Narok is very far, although it's within the same county, it's farther geographically than going to Kisii. So I loved it because you could do something and you could see, I am adding value, I'm impacting. If I sit through the clinic and run the clinic as a medical officer probably, and the patients have just been seeing a clinical officer previously, I feel I've added value, I feel I've amended drugs here and there. When a mother can come in labor and you do cesarean section and it hasn't been there before, you see you're adding some value.
What were the challenges?
I think infrastructure and supplies, just like anywhere, because it was a fairly new facility, so we were putting up structures. The theatre building was just getting commissioned at that point. We had one shared ward for the pits and ladies, and then the other for the males. And you see, you needed more and more and more. But before we could get busy on the ground working, it was 4 months, and I interviewed and I left. I needed to leave. It was a strategic decision. Yes, like I told you, since I started schooling, I started at the age of 9. So I constantly felt like I was a little bloomer. In every class, I could look left, right, and center and see these people are 5 years my junior. And therefore, the only way for me quickly to get there is to just finish internship and get postgraduate training and get specialist status, and therefore quickly kind of just finish up with school. Of course, it comes with the stall here and there. And therefore, I was again intent, like I told you, not to maybe go back to a public facility. I just wanted to experience a training where I didn't have to open my treatment plan with the words in an ideal setting. So I was trying to look for an ideal setting where if I wanted a CT, I have it. If I wanted an MRI, I have it. If I wanted this lab test, I have it. And I thought that Aga Khan program would give me that. And that's why I went interviewing for that.
And among all the professions of postgraduate in medicine, what advised you to do surgery?
I have got no idea. I have got no clue. You know, my chair of surgery when I was in 4th year is called Professor Tenge Kuremu, is now the principal of college. Then as a serious hospital is one that has a theatre and has a surgeon. But anyhow, I just felt that there was more job satisfaction in surgery, because besides still understanding that I can prescribe this drug for this patient and they will get better, when you're in a surgical discipline, then you use your hands, not just your mental understanding and the prescription. You also use your hands to intervene in a patient's case. And I therefore felt that this was going to give me better job satisfaction. And it has kept doing so. It hasn't disappointed.
Okay. Again, I'll go deeper in surgery. There's still so many disciplines within the surgery.
We don't want to go there. People might be confused. Yes, now it has just gone left, right, and center. because there was a quick shift for me transitioning from an intern to a specialist training. I knew in surgery, if I'm in general surgery, it still gives you the wind now to super specialize in just one area and focus on it, as opposed to say if I decided to jump into neurosurgery or jump into orthopedic surgery and I paused and thought, maybe I quickly moved, can I change this a little? So as a general surgeon, I quite understand the entire end-to-end understanding of the surgical needs of a patient. And I like to tell my colleagues who ask me, what is a general surgeon? I tell them, a general surgeon operates from head to toe and knows who to give the head, who to give the toe, So that kind of global picture of an understanding of what a surgical patient means.
That next question, what is general surgery?
Absolutely.
How will you separate it from orthopedic surgery or neurosurgery?
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
You are head to.
Yes, so essentially a general surgeon is able to handle a surgical patient and handle most, especially emergency surgical procedures, even falling under certain disciplines. You just, before we started recording, you had the phone call. This was a patient who I think has an orthopedic injury, and the team wanted me to give input. So as a general surgeon in training, you go through all these other specialty rotations that you are still able to handle so many surgical disciplines within, and therefore you have to look at a general surgeon and ask them, so they are specialists of where? Then maybe you concentrate on the abdomen and maybe what we call the thyroid and breast, for instance, because this is now the area when you specialize in still leave it to general surgery or subspecialty within general surgery. But a general surgeon is able to handle surgical emergencies, ENT emergencies, urology emergencies, orthopedic emergencies, vascular surgery emergencies, because you are supposed to be a one-stop shop for most of what we call the bellwether needs, like those fast-moving. In the consumer market, we call them fast-moving consumer goods. They are fast-moving surgical conditions that a general surgeon is able to handle. Yes.
A general surgeon will do emergency surgeries. And now when you come to cold cases, is the abdomen, breast, and thyroid.
You've forgotten the hernia. Oh, the hernia is there. Okay, there's a groin and the abdomen, no problem. I will agree with what you are saying. You're not a layman, but anyhow.
And yeah, we are addressing those people who are trying to get into the profession.
Hi, layman. Anyhow.
So now you've done surgery in one of the tertiary hospitals that have no limit with the resources, no limit with the knowledge. Like, you need it, you kind of get it.
Yes.
That is the AKUHN University. Yes. You finished within 4 years, right?
Yes.
Then when you are done, what next? In your day-to-day life as a surgeon,
yes,
what one case that made you so sad that you can't remember?
I won't mention the place, but I will mention the patient. This was a patient with intestinal obstruction, I think perforated bowel. I was called from town and I was told, we have this patient we have admitted and this and this and this is the case. So I gave instructions to the intern and told them, you need to do this, you need to start this medication, start this fluids, put some tube, put some painkillers, and then let's give ourselves some time to resuscitate the patient so that they are strong enough to withstand surgery. Then I just wanted to drive to the house, just relax for a bit and then wait for them to call me. And then one thought told me, just go to the hospital.